Good morning and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rain Girl TV. I'm Kimberly Williams, and I'm honored to have you with us today. In a world where headlines change by the minute and global events shape our daily lives, we're here to bring you the stories that matter the most. From the latest developments in politics and government to major world events, economic shifts, international affairs, and the issues impacting communities across the nation and around the globe, we've got you covered. Tonight, we'll break down the facts, examine the headlines, and explore the stories behind the news with clarity, insight, and perspective. Whether it's decisions being made in Washington, conflicts and diplomacy overseas, or the events shaping our future, Rain Girl TV is your destination for informed discussion and meaningful conversations. I'm Kimberly Williams, and this is Rain Girl TV, where news meets understanding and every story has a voice. My name is Kimberly Williams, host of The Interview. Today we have Mr. Wes Hodge with us. I'm very excited to have him here at the show.
Of course.
I've been really waiting for him to come for a couple of months now. He's finally made it to the hot seat here at the interview.
It's hot.
It's very hot today. Wes, I want you to tell us a little bit about who you are. Sure. I've seen you a couple of times on the campaign trail, and you are very active in the community.
I am.
Very active. And when I tell you about what I've seen, how you influence, and you're able to get people to gravitate towards you and also participate in this democratic process, I've been extremely impressed.
Well, thank you.
And I'm happy to see you running, but tell us a little bit about who you are.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. It's great being here with you, and we'll have a fun little conversation on the hot seat and, talk about District 2 and the County Commission. But a little bit about me, like you said, my name is Wes Hodge. I'm running for Orange County Commissioner here in District 2. I've actually lived in Orange County since I was 8 years old. And so this is what I consider my home. I graduated from public high school here in Winter Park. I went to Valencia and then University of Central Florida. I really enjoyed this. I got involved in real estate after that, and I was a realtor for about 15 years. And then in 2008, I got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so I had to go through chemo and radiation, and in that process got labeled as a pre-existing condition. And so this was back before Obamacare. This was back when you could be denied health care for a pre-existing condition.
I remember that.
And so I got involved in the advocacy space and started advocating for people like me who, through no fault of their own, got sick and then couldn't get meaningful health care insurance. And so that got me involved in politics in 2010, was going to some of those town halls that were very contentious. Alan Grayson had one, and that's where I went and said, we need meaningful health care, not just access to it, but it's got to be affordable. So that kind of started me down that path. And then in 2012, I got a reoccurrence. And so here I was with cancer for a second time, and no way to pay for it because I had no healthcare insurance. Fortunately or unfortunately, in this country, when you get cancer the second time, you qualify for Medicaid. And so I had to go through Social Security disability to get on Medicaid, the whole 9 yards. And so they paid for my chemotherapy treatments and then my bone marrow transplant. And so that was a very involved, expensive process. And through that process, I kind of made a promise to myself that if I made it out of here, I was going to find a way to give back to the community, because my community at this point, through Social Security disability and Medicaid, had given me the opportunity to continue on. And so I wanted to make sure that I was giving back. And so then I became more involved, in community advocacy, politically, especially here locally, and, working to make sure that we had a local government that was working for the community and not the special interests, not the developers. And we didn't have that. We had a board of county commissioners that just didn't reflect our values. And, when we would go down and try to fight sprawl, we would try to fight, the things that we were seeing done, the way money was being spent, and it wasn't being to benefit the people, but special interest, that's when we really started to fight back. And we were able to flip a county commission essentially on its head in just 2 elections and get 6 new people on that board, and actually start having county commissioners and a mayor, with Mayor Jerry Demings, who was talking about things like dedicated funding for transportation, who was talking about, making sure that we don't sprawl, that we're talking about infill development, that we're redoing the zoning, the comp plan to have inclusive zoning so that you could have mixed use development, kind of like where we're at here, where you've got commercial on the bottom, then you have residential on top. Our traditional zoning system didn't allow that. And so, we started having these great conversations and moving things forward. We're finally paying our firefighters and our corrections officers and our police officers livable wages. All of these things are happening now because we were able to put people on the county commission who actually reflected our community's values. And so when this seat came up, District 2, a lot of people started asking me, what are you going to do? Because they knew I lived in District 2. And I was like, no. And so I was chief of staff for Commissioner Martinez Simrad. I've been chief of staff for 3 different commissioners. And so Commissioner Martinez Simrad said, you know what? I need you on the dais. I can't have you in my office anymore. And so her, along with some community groups, kind of pushed me forward. And that's how we got to where we're at today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, first,
it's a long story. I'm sorry.
No, but it's your story, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
It's because it's your story, and I'm glad you're doing better now, because cancer is absolutely nothing to play with.
Absolutely not.
And you've gone through a lot, so you've got to meet a lot of people in a lot of different financial situations, along with medical situations. So, number one, we know that healthcare is essentially a problem now, but it's essential to everyone to live a productive life in order to work.
Absolutely.
So thanks for sharing that with me. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah.
You spoke a lot about developers. How do you feel about developers and the outside special interests coming in to develop?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why we're having the problems we have now, right? Like, why do we have the traffic sprawl that we have? Why do we have just development everywhere? Why are our agricultural areas under immense pressure from development? Because, previous commission boards were taking all that special interest money, taking developer money, taking money from tourism, and not holding them accountable. We need development, right? So developers are not bad people. We need tourism. The tourism industry is not a bad entity either. It provides. But the thing is, they've got to be good partners. And so we have to be able to put up some guardrails and all exist within those guardrails. And so one of the things that's been very important to me is I've taken a pledge from the beginning. I'm not taking any developer money, and I'm not taking any money from tourism. Because as we're talking about making sure that our community works for us, they need to be equal partners. And so that involves, making sure that on new developments, they pay their full impact fees. That, residents like you and I don't subsidize those projects because they don't pay their full impact fees. It also means that when we're talking about the tourist development tax or TDT dollars, that we are able to use some of those monies to improve our community. We can talk some more about that later.
What are your thoughts about the tourist development taxes, as far as can you break that down for some people who may not be familiar with it?
Absolutely. So every night you come into Orange County and you stay in a hotel room, there's a 6% tax that goes just to this tourist development tax. And it's a pot of money that is consisted of that 6% every hotel room every night. And it adds up. And in Orange County, we're about to pass $450 million a year.
Wow.
So that's a lot of money, a lot of money. And, but it's highly regulated, right? There's a lot of state statutes that are involved on how that money can be spent. And the interesting thing is that law has been poked holes in for a lot of people, except for Orange County. And so if you live in a county that's on the water, so the Gulf or the Atlantic, if you live in a county that's on the water and has more than 900,000 people, you can use that money for first responders, lifeguards, roads. You can use it for all these different things. But if you're an inland county with more than 900,000 people, it can only be used for stadiums, art centers, promoting Orlando for more people, or promoting your town for more people, or a convention center.
So it's kind of like you can't use it the way you would need to use it because of the number of people in the community.
Right. And so the when you look at Florida and you think of how many counties aren't on the Gulf or aren't on the Atlantic and are over 900,000 people, there's one. It's Orange County. And so we have the most restrictive uses of TDT dollars in the state. And basically what we've done is it goes into the convention center. We've had, in the last 10 years, we put over $1 billion into the convention center in remodeling it and improving it. We've built the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center,
which is very beautiful.
Which is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But then, you have a lot of homeless people, and you have a lot of issues surrounding the area.
Correct.
Where they need to put money in.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, the way that the statute's written, we're not legally allowed to use it that way. And so, what we want to do is find ways within the confines of the law that allows us to use that money. And
I am just like blown away because I've been having these conversations, and pardon me for interrupting you. A lot of people haven't been able to really explain it and break it down the way you've just broken that down.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your knowledge and information on that, because that lets me know that you really know about what you're talking about. Yeah. And so I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like developers and different people with special interests, are you, regardless of party, are you willing to work with anyone? Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, like, that's why I said that earlier. There are no bad players in this equation. We just have to make sure that we're putting them in the right place with the right guardrails around them so that everybody's playing a fair game, right? And so I want to see development. I want to see development happen where we are. So if you don't know where we are, we're in downtown Orlando. But I want the development to happen here because we have the density, we have the services, we have the public transportation already available. And so when we're doing things way out in Mount Dora or way out in Windermere, we're having to build new streets, new sidewalks, new stormwater infrastructure. Well, all that stuff costs a lot of money to maintain. And so what happens is in 15, 20, 30 years, that bill becomes due because we got to replace all this stuff. And so it's easier and more fiscally responsible when we have these things in dense urban cores where we can go vertical because the transportation's already there, the stormwater's already there, the water supply's already there, the streets are already there, the public transportation's already there. So it just makes it more cost effective for us. I mean, look at every other big city in this country. They have light rail, they have a subway, they have real meaningful bus service. We don't have anything. And so, that's how we get to that next level. And the thing is that we have to have a county commission with that vision to get us there and partner with the right developers, because there are plenty of developers that will continue to sprawl out as far as they can go until we tell them no. We can't do that anymore. We got to have smart development. And there's good developers in this town that are ready to do that. We just have to work together and make that happen. Absolutely. And coming from the background that you have, your experience, it sounds like you will be able to take us there. Absolutely. You'll be able to reach across the aisle, because that's what we're really talking about right now. Is being able to work with everyone. Everybody. And come to, a table of this is what we need to get done. So how long do you think, given you're elected, how long would it take for you to really get things in motion to, what is your number? I know that's a lot, but the hard part is everything that we've talked about doesn't happen in 4 years. You'll be lucky if it happens in 8 years. And that's where we are. We're term limited to 8 years here in Orange County. And so really the work that you're doing, you're not going to see for 8, 10, 12, 14 years. And that's what's important about it, is that it's not something that's going to, it's one of those things where you plant a tree knowing that you're never going to enjoy the shade, right? I love that. And it's that philosophy. We're going to make this city and this community and this county a better place for the next generation. So basically what you're saying is anyone who's trying to sell us a dream that is going to happen overnight, it's not. It's just not. They're just playing games to. Yeah, it's, even if we wanted to expand Sunrail out to Zelwood, which I fully support, there's already an existing rail line there.
But it's going to cost a lot of money just to upgrade the line, upgrade the crossings. In some areas we have to put a second track in. That doesn't happen quickly. We're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Same thing with getting the airport and the convention center connected. There's already a rail line between the existing north-south Sunrail and the airport.
Wow.
But it's still going to cost us $400 million and several years of work to just make that connection viable for Sunrail. And that doesn't even include getting it over to the convention center. So, all of these things are very long-term projects. And so you have to kind of look at the public to say, listen, we're going to go on a very long ride and you're going to forget and it's going to be difficult, but we've got to do it together for our community. We can't think in 2, 4, 5 year increments. We need a long-term vision. So that's where we're at.
And your experience also, you talked about some like medical workers and you dealing with some medical problems here. What did you learn in addition to health insurance and
Yeah.
What else did you learn? Because we have a lot of people right now that's really struggling with health insurance and things like that.
Right.
What can you tell me that you learned about the average person who's struggling with health insurance needs?
Don't put things off. And don't think that by ignoring it, it's going to go away. One of the things that is really important for people to know, and I don't think most people know this, there are community resources available for everybody. Whether you're not making any income or you're making, a lot of money, there are resources available on a sliding scale based on your ability to pay that will provide you access to care, will provide you access to a general practitioner. They will provide you the resources you need so that you can get these minor health issues addressed so they don't become big issues. And I would much rather have, somebody go to, and there's Orange County Clinic, it's on Westmoreland. It's based on income. You can go there and get vaccinated. You can get, health screenings. You can get checks. You can get dental care. There's vision care that's available. It's on site. So all of these things are available. So, if you're focusing on a point where you have health concerns, reach out to the county, reach out to, any of these social service programs. They can provide you with the information you need to make that connection, because these resources are very important. And, the things that can be treated today are far less intrusive and far less expensive when we catch them early. So yeah, always make sure you're getting things checked out. Even if you don't have insurance, people will find a way to take care of it.
Having these discussions, even as you're running, do you welcome residents, constituents to reach out to you now?
Oh, absolutely.
To have a discussion about some of these medical issues. Well,
Yeah.
not medically speaking, but I'm saying, like, if they're scared to talk about it or they're facing some concerns, because this is what we need. We need, people like yourself that's in the community that's willing to talk about some of these different issues, even when it comes to medical, because you can
Right.
talk to someone about medical and it leads you down a path to
Right.
having another discussion. So
Oh, absolutely.
constituents to
Usually it's backwards though. Usually we'll start talking about something else and then we end up in like a medical or something more serious. But yeah, no, I mean, as I've been out talking to people, knocking on doors, I always lead with, hi, my name is Wes Hodge. I'm running for Orange County Commission. Tell me what's going on with you in the county. And trust me, at first they're kind of thrown off because they're like, wait, you're asking me? And so then you can see the wheels spinning. And so then what I usually do is I go into my spiel a little bit about why I'm running, who I am. And then I'll say something about development. And then they'll be like, you know what? I want to talk to you about something. And it gives me a couple moments to think. And then it's traffic.
traffic is
Trust me, traffic, affordability, speeding in the community, water quality and safety is another big one.
What about some of the opportunities for working families?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that would look like for someone who just lost their job or laying off or just moved to Florida?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've got tons of great opportunities here. Career Source is a great opportunity for people to kind of learn. They can help you with polishing your resume and getting things started. There are all kinds of different places where you can go for help with trying to find jobs or get placement. There are tons of programs for schools. Boys and Girls Club is a great example of one of the things that we fund. There's summer programs through the Children and Family Services Centers that can provide access to kids over the summer. So there are tons of things here. Best thing you can do is call 311. Pick up your phone, call 311. In Orange County, that will take you to a central, not data center.
What we know about
Call,
data center.
yeah. They'll take you to a central call center.
Okay.
Where we have,
cameras.
Fog cameras will follow you all over it. But you call 311, goes to a call center, and they can tell you about different programs and things that are available. And 311 is great because not only is it for positive resources, but it can also be, if you have a code issue with your neighbor and you need help with that, or a tree falls in the right of way. 311 is a great service, and if you don't want to call, there's an app on your phone. You can download it on your phone, and you can actually interact, via the app. It's a great service, and that's a wonderful thing. Now, I will say this too: if you're in crisis, then you call 211, and 211 is United Way. And United Way will take you to, more crisis intervention services, more emergency needs services. So if you're into a housing crisis, if you're into, a health crisis, a mental health crisis, 211 can help you out a lot more. Then, of course, if you're absolutely in mental health crisis, 811 is the other option. So there's a lot of 111 options out here. You just set your phone and hit like 111, 211, 311.
But there may be someone that's watching the show right now. They may not be aware that these resources are there or what numbers to dial.
Yeah.
And it's great that you're sharing this information because it's going to go to my followers and people who watch the show, and it'll hopefully help someone be able to say, hey, I didn't know this resource was there, but it's there.
Absolutely.
So I ride my bike, I walk, I do a lot of things with nature. So I'm a nature girl. I'm also, a sci-fi girl too. So what are you going to do to defend our rural boundary?
That is a great question. And that is one of the core reasons as to why I'm running. So for those that may not know, in 2024, 73% of Orange County voted to establish what's called a rural boundary. And basically what that did is it set a line on the east side and the west side of the county. And we said that no more development is going to go out here. We want to focus development inside where the existing services are. So again, to stop the sprawl, it was an attempt for us to control sprawl. So now we have that in effect. The people whose job is to defend it is the county commissioners. And so they are the ones that have to make sure that when developments come outside of our urban service area, they meet those criteria in order to be developed. Most of it is a rural setting. So we're talking 1 house per 10 acres, 1 house per 5 acres. In some situations, 1 house per 1 acre. It's really nerdy stuff. I know. I'm sorry, but it's very rural settings. And the point is that there's not supposed to be the infrastructure out there to support it. That's why it needs to maintain rural and then focus all the development inside the county. Kind of dovetailed with that is what's called rural settlements. And what these are they are communities across Orange County. There's 13 of them, I believe. And we said in the 90s, we're recognizing these 13 communities as rural settlements. And what we're going to do is recognize that they have a country or more rural way of life.
Wow, you not to interrupt you, but you've done your research.
We've been dealing with this.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
He's done his research.
Yeah.
So
these rural settlements were established in the 90s, and we said we're going to protect this rural way of life. And if you want to develop it, it has to be consistent with the character of the community. And developers have been going after them like crazy. And so for me, again, it's the county commissioner's job to uphold this. And so I always say my campaign slogan is promises made, promises kept. We made a promise to these communities. It's our job as commissioners to uphold that promise. And so whether it's the rural boundary or the rural settlement, we have to make sure that the development is consistent with those rural standards.
wow. And so who are some of the people that you will be working with giving your election?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. So number one, we have a very big election this year. The county commission used to be 6 with a mayor, so 7 people, but we just voted to expand it to 8 and a mayor, so 9 people. So we're going to already have 2 new people. But then because of term limits and because of people wanting to run for different things, we're going to end up, there could only be 2 existing commissioners staying, which means we would have 7 new people on that board of county commissioners, which is crazy. And so, experience is going to be a necessity because you're going to have 7 people that have no idea what they're doing. And I love our county staff, but there's 1 county staff and there's 7 commissioners. They can't train everybody at once. It's going to take time. And so what's going to happen is, my biggest fear is that our communities aren't going to get the attention that they need and they deserve. And that's why I think it's important. That's why I wanted to make sure when I was running that I highlighted that experience, because I could start tomorrow and be ready to go. And so, so it's going to be very interesting to see that. So we don't know who I'm going to be working with, but we know for sure I'll be working with Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Martinez Simrad, both of whom have already endorsed me, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. So, at least the 3 of us will be there. Everything else is up to the voters. So we'll see what happens. But then, of course, going back, I'll be working with the county staff that I've worked with for many, many years. I know them all. They're great people. They're honest, decent public servants. And I look forward to working with them again.
I do believe in climate change, and I know that's what's happening. And do you guys ever talk about that within what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of, we have to plan, right? And so when you're looking at planning 20, 30 years, what does sea level rise look like? What does saltwater intrusion look like? As you're pulling more and more water out of the aquifer, Florida is a peninsula that's 50 miles wide, and we've got salt water on both sides. And so as we're pulling out of the aquifer, that salt water wants to come in and fill that space if we're not recharging the aquifer fast enough. And so we're dealing with saltwater intrusion. We're dealing with, pulling out all that water. So you're talking about spring flow rates, how much water is in our aquifer that we can actually get into. So there's all these complexities. Then we're talking about hurricanes that come by. Now, when hurricanes do occur, they're more intense, they're more severe. They bring more water. How do we manage that water? So all of these things are all interconnected, and that is part of the challenge. We're just looking at revamping our stormwater code, because what we were building for in the 50s and 60s is not what we're experiencing now. Hurricane Ian dumped, I think it was like 18 inches of water on this community in less than 24 hours, and we could not handle it. And so, how do you, boost those systems up to where they have additional capacity and try to make sure that we don't have those same flooding issues that we had last time? I mean, it was awful during, after Ian. And so we were out, over off the Goldenrod, and literally up to my waist in water, delivering food to seniors in trailers because they were stuck. And so, we had high water vehicles from the fire department. Commissioner Uribe and I were out there, delivering food from Salvation Army, just to make sure that they knew that we were there, that we were working to get to them, and bringing them some sort of relief. And so, we've got to really work hard to make sure that those things don't happen.
You are amazing. How long have you been on the campaign trail?
So I filed in early May.
Oh my God.
So not very long. I was one of the last ones to get in. It has been a sprint this entire time. But we've had, I've been doing the work in this community for over a decade.
Yeah.
And so, and so I've met plenty of people in our community across the spectrum, and work with them and have good established relationships, so that in times of need or in times of crisis, we can work together to address those concerns. And so, it's just, being able to, I don't want to say leverage those relationships, but know when someone has an issue where we need to go, and making sure that we connect the need with the resource. It's been very important to me, and I enjoy it because it's us providing for our people. It's us helping people with whatever it is they need. Sometimes it's as simple as a pothole or a garbage can. Sometimes it's as complex as an immigration issue. I've had people stop me in the grocery store. Hey, I have a cousin that has an issue with their green card. Can you help me? Sure. Get their information, call a member of Congress, and start working it out. Right.
This is a serious position. Yeah. And you are incredibly knowledgeable. And before we go today, I would really like for you to tell our viewers where they can find you. Sure. And what they can do if they would like to donate to your campaign.
Of course. All right. So it's very hard. Everything is Wes Hodge OC. So website is weshodgeoc.com. All of my socials are Wes Hodge OC. So you can go to any of those and find whatever you need. I'm on, let's see, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads.
You're on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok.
To find you on TikTok.
Don't expect much. So that's where everything is. It's Wes Hodge OC, WESHODGEOC. If you go to the website, donation link at the top and at the bottom. Please donate. You know, like I said, we are 100% grassroots. I am not taking money, as I said, from developers or from tourism. They're spending plenty of money against me. They've invested over $20,000 in this race to, you know, put this seat back into play for them. So we're running a lean, mean grassroots machine, and you know, we need about $5,000 or $6,000 more between now and August 18th. So if you can donate $5, $10, if you can donate $1,000, I would love it. But I understand that that is way out of the range for most people. But you know, 5, 10, 20 bucks will go a long way to helping us get our message out. You know, and we're doing door knocking every day right now between now and August 18th. We're doing sign waving at early voting, which starts on Monday, by the way. And then, you know, we've got canvassing, we've got phone banking, we've got envelope stuffing, you name it, we've got it. So if you're interested in volunteering, you can go to my website. There's a Get Involved tab. You can click on that. And then if you live in District 2, which is all of Northwest Orange County, and you want a yard sign, you can get a yard sign right there and we'll bring one out to your house. So yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you stopping over to the interview. And I hope that you will come back.
Anytime. And if anybody ever needs anything, they can reach out to me through my website. My phone number's there. You can call me. Like literally, I am as accessible as you can possibly be. So please, you know, if you're seeing this and it's even after election time, you know, my phone number is still there. Feel free to reach out. Whatever you need, we're here to help.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
And so this has been a really great show in District 2, Wes Hodge. We need you guys to donate and to participate in some of his canvassing if you can, and get out there and vote. Early vote starts
Monday, August 3rd.
August 3rd, Monday. It's come up pretty quickly. And
Yep.
we'll see you guys August 18th.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.